You mentioned the role of activism and the kind of the 350s campaigns and your 10-10-10 this year, Get to Work, which you're nicely modelling with your sticker. But I guess the question I have is that this process now, the UNFCCC process, has been stagnant. It's been going round and round, and you have incremental steps forward and some progress, and then big steps back with Copenhagen. Has the activism been evolving with it, do you feel? Are we seeing new forms of activism? Was 350 a really big change, and are we going to continue? Is there scope for people to really make a difference, and if so, how, and how's it evolving?
It's a great question, and I think that things are changing, but we need to be experimenting more. We need to be trying new things all the time. I think that 350 was really unique. In one way, because it was very focused around a clear target for these talks. It's 350 parts per million target and a 1.5 temperature target that went along with that. And we saw that by focusing in, by having a clear message and not just saying, stop climate change, over and over again, we could really make a big difference. So I think that was one piece that was different. More important was that it was all about being open and building a movement. It wasn't just about creating one organization, but working with hundreds of organizations. And we've seen more collaboration now. I think we've seen the big green groups like Greenpeace and WWF work together in new ways. And we've seen them be willing to partner with the grassroots groups on the ground and the social movements that can really provide political pressure. Mm-hmm. And so by bringing those groups together for October 24th last year, and hopefully again for 10-10 this year, we've really made an impact. And by getting these stories onto the front pages of newspapers, by putting that right in front of politicians, we can continue to do it. I think the challenge this year is to create the momentum for solutions. I think we've been slamming our heads so long against this process and saying, we need a treaty, we need a treaty, we need a treaty, that it can feel like we aren't moving anywhere. When in fact, on the ground, lots of things are moving. We have new technologies coming down the pipeline. Businesses are investing in this. Communities are finding out solutions. You have stories that many of you have probably heard about, a young man in Kenya building his own wind turbine to create power. Those stories are happening all around the world, and yet we don't hear them because we get so bogged down in these processes. And I think that if we, as civil society, can demonstrate that we are all getting to work on solutions and creating momentum, then we can also send a really clear message to our leaders that they need to get to work too, that there is momentum out there. If they seize on that, then they can really move this process forward. Because when it comes down to it, the process isn't bogged down because it's complicated. Mm-hmm. It is complicated, but these guys are pros. They can navigate the acronyms, and they know how to put articles where they go, and they're really good at that. Mm-hmm. What they're not good at is summoning the political will to move this forward. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't say that the complications of the process are an excuse for a lack of action. I think that they sometimes just hide the fact that the negotiators in the country still haven't summoned the political will, and that yes, we haven't been able to build a movement large enough to make them do that. We're getting close. We're much larger than we were before, even just a year ago, but it needs to keep on building. And I think that we need to come out of Bonn really not obsessing about what happened inside these halls, but really looking outside and seeing how can we continue to build pressure up to Cancun and beyond.
I guess it's a relatively positive note to leave it on. Before I hand back to Anurada and Danny in London, let me ask you, if people who want to get involved with 10-10-10, this is your day of action in October to get to work, how should they go about that?
Well, two ways, really easy. Check out 1010global.org, I think, right? And we're working with the 1010 campaign out of the UK that did such great work there, and really partnering with them to give people the tools they need to really get started right now on cutting their emissions. And then 350.org, too, is focused on this day, focused on connecting people with the resources that they need, the inspiration, the videos, the content that you can be using in your community to really get going. And register a work party. Find a way to demonstrate some solution in your city or town, and then send that message to your leaders that I'm getting to work. If I can get up on the roof of my house and put up a solar panel, surely you, negotiator, can do your job too and actually get some text on the table, support the countries that are really taking action like the islands, and move this process forward.
Okay, Jamie, thanks very much for joining us. It's been an inspiring and optimistic talk after the.
We do our best.
After the more kind of depressing discussions this morning, but there's hope yet, and we can move forward. And I'll hand back to London with that note.